Hey guys, we're live. It's Ted Bogert back with the Ted Show. I finally got the famous, the infamous Mr. Mayhem, Mr. Music, Mr. Real Estate, Boston Dave Knight on the show. Welcome to the show, Boston Dave. How you doing?
We appreciate you, Teddy B. We understand you're going through some life challenges, and we're all with you, my friend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. Means the world to me.
Amen.
So let's talk about you. There's so much to talk about. I have many questions.
Okay.
But I want you to kind of share your journey, and we'll ask as we go.
Okay. You got about 3 hours?
I have as much time as you need. That's a lie. Yes, no, we do not.
My journey is it's a long one. Just turned 54 yesterday, 2 days ago.
Looking good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. 20 pounds lighter from the beginning of the year. Thank you very much.
Wow. What's your secret?
It's called apple cider vinegar and staying away from booze. Easy as that.
Okay, so I heard the apple cider vinegar. Keep going with your journey.
It's the journey. The journey starts in Boston, Massachusetts, in Dorchester in 1973 when my family moved there from the suburbs of Westwood, Massachusetts. And I'm a son of a preacher. Believe it or not, yes, I'm that preacher's kid. Okay.
Wow.
We had a big family. There were 6 of us. And shall I say that my parents were on the progressive side of things, okay? So my mother wanted this big Victorian, that she fell in love with this big Victorian home in Dorchester. And at that time, the Jewish families were moving out of Dorchester, and liberal educated people were moving into some of it, and a whole bunch of people were coming off the boat from Ireland, moving to Dorchester. And so we bought this huge Victorian home on Melville Ave, a stone's throw away from the Dorchester District Court, which in the future would be somewhat convenient. Okay.
You're jumping ahead.
Yeah. So that was 1973. And so we bought this big, beautiful home. My father then became involved with All Saints Church, an Episcopalian Anglican Catholic church. And you got to remember, in Dorchester, everyone that I met, my circles in sports and in the neighborhood, everybody was Irish Catholic. And I wasn't Irish Catholic. My family is English and Scotch Irish, and we go to an Anglo Catholic church. Okay. So, oh my God, what's an Anglo Catholic church? My God. So in 1974, Judge Arthur Garrity, okay, ruled that Boston public schools were unconstitutionally segregated. So he instituted forced busing. That means that whites had to go to black schools and blacks had to go to white schools. But it was very flawed right from the beginning, because our city was already, we already had neighborhood schools where kids were comfortable going to. And again, in his elitist mind, he thought that was unfair to those other people who wanted to go to schools in other people's neighborhoods. So
how did that change your world?
It was crazy. So I was in a neighborhood school, and then we were forced to go to a school in Roxbury. So Roxbury, Mass, there was an exodus of Jewish people in that area, and that became predominantly black. So we were forced to go to another school. Okay. And at that time in Dorchester, parents were pulling their children out of public school left and right, and they were going to parochial school. That was the neighborhood school, became the Catholic church schools. Okay. And so, but the liberal people thought, it'd be okay if my kids go to a black school. We had police escorting us to school. We had police escorting us into class. Rocks thrown out the buses every single day. I can't remember. I mean, I'll never forget. I was having a conversation. I think I was in 5th grade, and with this kid behind me who lived down the street from me, Liam Deaney. And a big cinder block came flying through the window, smacked him in the side of the head. I'll never forget it. Blood just shot out. He spit glass out of his mouth. It was insane. It really, really was. And Boston was turned upside down. And I tell you, It
How's
was
that impact you?
that's a great question. It opened up my eyes big time that I was different, and it also opened up my eyes to racial hostilities that I never encountered while I was, living in Westwood or Lancaster, Mass, which is, a predominantly super predominantly white neighborhood.
So what did it do to change? So what lesson did you take with you from that?
Um, if you don't want to be part of forest busing, don't live in that neighborhood. Live somewhere else. You can be a you do not have to be part of what politicians want you to be. And so it forced me to be a rebel. I didn't want to. I didn't like it. I didn't like being chased down the hall and be called a white boy in hockey. I hated it. Okay.
Is that why you went into music?
No, that's why I went into Catholic school. But as a rebel, okay, my family, we were all involved with church choir because, again, my father was a preacher. And so in my church at All Saints Church in Dorchester, which is an institution, we have a boys choir that was much like the Vienna Boys Choir. Okay, we used to tour this, that, and everything else. And we had a headmaster, we had an organist, and he was a drill sergeant. And he literally would throw hymnals at me, erasers, you name it. If I wasn't sitting correctly and singing properly, I'd get a hymnal off my head. That's the way it was in the 70s. I wish it was still the same way.
So tell me about music.
Well, music has been a big part of my life and my family's life since we were kids. Music for me started as at 8 years old in my church choir. I had the opportunity to be the incense boy, the candle boy, or sing in the church choir. I wanted to sing in the church choir.
Wanted to sing.
Yes, wanted to sing. And by the time I was in 8th grade, I started my own rock and roll band, doing Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, Rolling Stones, Cheap Trick.
There's a little rebel.
Yes, yes, loved every minute of it, and that's grown into my side life. I believe, I'm a trained entertainer, and obviously a real estate professional. That's my professional life. So,
right.
A big part of our lives was that church and rock and roll. And we had the big home up on Melville Ave, and in our basement we had my PA system, drums, guitars, amps, and it also came to time in, what was it, 84, Donnie Wahlberg, the Wahlberg family, which the older Wahlberg son was one of my best friends. We used to play street hockey together and get in trouble in school. I don't know how many times I got sent to the principal's office with this kid.
I bet you did.
And then my younger brother, Chris, was best friends with Donnie Wahlberg, and Donnie and Jordan used to sing in the school choir. So we also had the school choir too that we were all involved with. And one thing led to another. Maurice Starr came into my household. Maurice was the big Boston producer who created New Edition.
Right.
And they had that huge hit in 1982, Candy Girl. And so New Edition and Maurice Starr parted ways. And so Maurice started a new boy band. Instead of having 5 black boys, he had 5 white boys.
And what was the name of that band?
That was New Kids on the Block.
See, we set each other up so well for these. These are good.
Exactly.
We're pivoting.
And the original, you know what's cool, Teddy, is that they originally didn't start out as New Kids on the Block. They started out as Ninook.
As what?
Exactly. It's called Ninook. N-Y-N-U-K. Ninook, like Ninook of the North.
Oh, I got you.
Like, really? I've never really liked the name.
New Kids on the Block, man. That's big.
Yes. And at their first show, they did the Kite Festival because Maurice had all of his connections in the black music community. So their first show was at the Roxbury Kite Festival. Literally, we were the only white people there.
When you say Roxbury, I think of A Night at Roxbury. Is that the same Roxbury, Mass?
No,
yeah.
No, Roxbury is near is near the South End, which is near downtown Boston.
And then I'm very disappointed that you did not say Dorchester in the way that I expected you to say. Dorchester.
Well, it's supposed to be Dorchester.
There you go.
Hey, Teddy Bogart. Teddy Bogart.
I would have been remiss if I hadn't said that, because the whole time I'm thinking, gosh, he's really Florida-ized to that Dorchester. It doesn't even sound like I would expect to come out of your mouth. Where did the fashion come in? You're a big fashion guy.
I am. And I want to go back to why I don't sound like I'm from Dorchester.
Oh, yes, please tell me.
It's called years of sales training.
But there's something endearing when I hear that. I think of, oh, good. I'm good. I'm safe. I'm in a good place. This is good. So tell us about the fashion a little bit, and then we'll dive into real estate.
Okay. Fashion comes from just my idols. Mick Jagger, David Lee Roth, Scott Weiland. Scott Weiland, I love Scott Weiland. As you may know, I have a Stone Temple Pilots tribute band. We often play at House of Blues and such venues. And Scott Weiland was one of the classiest dressers ever in rock and roll history. So I just love fashion. My girlfriend, Marcia, she has a degree in fashion.
She's amazing.
So she sets me up. However, I can walk into a store and just look at the racks, and it will say, "Scream at me, buy me." But more importantly, fashion, it comes from my personality. Okay, I'm sure you're well aware of the 4 personality types. Okay.
Yeah. Which one are you?
What do you think?
I don't know. I can't remember the actual names. I just have an idea.
Okay, so you have amiable, you have analytical, you have driver, and then you have expressive.
Oh, expressive. Yeah, that's perfect for you.
Okay. So my clothes are just a part of who I am. And
Love it.
Listen, Teddy, we stand out in a crowd, don't we?
Yeah.
Because when we see each other, we're dressed very much alike.
Yes. Absolutely.
I
I can't pull that hat off, though. It
sure
looks really good on you,
here
man.
You go, right here. Here it is, right there.
Why the hat? Why is the hat part of it?
That's just very few people have the gonads to actually wear one.
I think very few people look good in one. Honestly, you pull it off, which is great. It's perfect. You look naked without it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. A lot of people will not recognize me out.
It took me a while when you stopped wearing it. You stopped wearing it for a little bit, and you stopped wearing it, and I really had to do a double take a few times.
Yes.
But it's a signature thing is good. Having a signature look is good because that's branding, that's marketing, that's awareness, and people know you're Boston Dave, and they know why. I mean, if you don't know why, you just heard bits and pieces of it for sure. Right. But they also know you for your fashion. What they might not know, even though I don't know how, is that you've been big in real estate for a long time. How did you get into real estate?
Well, real estate was my exit strategy when I was in the gym business. So for those who don't know, I was involved on the ground floor of Planet Fitness. I
did not know that.
Yes. So as a serial entrepreneur, I'm always looking at what is coming down the pike and how I can be part of it. So in 1995, I did my first real estate deal, and that was a 25,000 square foot commercial real estate deal to open up what was then Future Fitness in Cranston, Rhode Island. And I had previously been in doing sales and management in a Boston chain, and then I was able to convince those who had the capital to be partners with me and do this new gym in Cranston, Rhode Island. And if you didn't know, the end result of every gym business is bankruptcy. 24-hour fitness is filed for bankruptcy. Bally Total Fitness, gone. Go down the list, they're all gone. So one day they will go bankrupt. So I was on year 7 and I was going under. We had competition opened up, and you become yesterday's news in the gym business. And so we were going out of business, and it was hurting. And this sales guy came in to sell me treadmills, and he told me about this new concept, this new chain, this new franchise called Planet Fitness. And he also informed me that there were several other World Gym guys had converted their gyms to Planet Fitness. And then when he told me their names, I knew who they were, and I immediately got on the phone. 2 days later, I'm there visiting their shops. A week later, I'm signing a contract with Planet Fitness. I converted my gym to a Planet Fitness, and 2 years later, my numbers went from to awesome. And then, speaking of thumbs up, no judgment-free zone. I cashed out, got out of the gym business, and in 2005, I bought 4 multifamilies in the course of 60 days. We just rammed them right through, no duck, no money down. It was just amazing. It was the wild, wild west back then. And I became what we know as later as I dubbed myself Dave, the student apartment guy, because I bought these multifamilies next to colleges, next to Johnson & Wales and Providence College in Providence. And that's how I became a landlord by default, and that's how I got into investing in real estate, 2005. And I never looked back.
You've done a lot with property management. That's how we first met. You do both. You do all of it. I mean, it's not just property management. Talk about the market now. Let's talk about. We were going to talk about investors. Let's talk about investors. Okay. So, what should investors be looking at right now? We're starting to open up a little bit. It's the new normal, whatever that looks like. What do you think investors should be doing?
I think they should be holding off, or selling their property and get their equity out now, and waiting for the big wave to come through, because the market is going to crash. It has to. We are at near depression levels as far as unemployment goes. There is a world of hurt out there, and this stimulus money is going to run out. This printing of money is absolutely crazy. So for investors, there are opportunities out there. I prefer as far as what my advice or what I'm doing. Would you like to know?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I've realized some significant gains in equity, okay, in properties that I purchased in the past. It's now time. That equity sitting there does me no good.
Right.
Okay. Sure, I could do a cash out refinance, whatever. Okay. I can cash out now, put that money on the side. Okay. Be a cash buyer. Get that equity. And 6, 12, 18 months from now, we're going to see some serious reductions in pricing, not only in Orlando, but in other metropolitan areas across the United States. Las Vegas, world of hurt. Orlando, world of hurt. Folks, just sit, get ready, because it's going to come, and be ready to take action. When that
why are the values going to go down? Is it because the unemployment, because people are just they don't have the money? So things are going to just, do you look at it as 2008, 2009, or completely different?
Well, that's a good question, Ted, because back then, when we had the third quarter of 2007, when the stock market crashed, when did we realize the bottom of the real estate market? How long did that take?
I don't know.
2011 was the bottom of and it took like 2 years, 2010, 11, for things to get really bad. For those discounts and for all those sale signs and all those foreclosures to come into the marketplace. And the same thing's going to happen here. But in the interim, if you got property to sell, cash out now. And that's what I'm doing.
So that's your mode right now. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yes, I'm getting my money, and I'm going to put it in. I'm going to take my money out, put it aside, because there's a world of opportunity for investors coming around the corner, and it comes every 10 years. Every 10 years, those waves come, and you have to be ready for them.
What about foreign investors? Do you deal with those?
I deal with everybody.
I had somebody ask a question when I started promoting the show about what is your thought process since you deal with rentals. Obviously, they did some research on you. What is your thought on foreign investors coming in and investing in the market?
Cash is king. A lot of them are here to hide their money, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who are trying to get their money out of wherever they're at. So it's crazy out there. But that's the first time that I think somebody has said, shared what they're personally doing. I appreciate that, because I think people, we want to hear what you're doing, not just what you think we want to hear. And so I appreciate you being honest about that. I think it's important. What should people do then, in your mind? What if you don't have properties to sell, or people hold on to their cash, bury it in the backyard, put it under the pillow? What are we supposed to be doing?
All depends what your strategies in life are. It depends upon your age. I'm 54. I plan on retiring in 10 years. Okay, so I need to set myself up for my retirement years. I'm not going to be working. I'm not going to be Boston Dave. Okay, so it depends about your long-term, what your long-term goals and strategies are. So if you're 30 years old, okay, then a 30-year fixed mortgage is awesome. If you're my age, a 15-year fixed rate is even better. If you're our age, Ted,
sadly, I'm older than you, Dave.
So have a business that has a receivable base. Get into a business that has a receivable base, a revenue stream, property management, hello, insurance, hello, mortgages. Okay, where you can have tons of people, where you can build a big book of business. If you're in by investing in real estate, okay, you buy it at the right time. You just allow the market to grow the equity in the home. And then you can realize the equity by two ways, either by selling it or by doing a cash out refi. Okay.
We're seeing a lot of that, people doing the cash out refis, mainly because they want to have that equity in the bank before the property values begin to go, and then it eats away their equity. So
exactly.
cash out. If that's your only foray into the real estate world, and it's just your primary home, then yeah, you should look at it, because I think it's important. Because Dave's right. I think the values are going to begin to shift, and the market's going to become even a little bit more unstable. So why not have that refi, lower your payment, all that good stuff. Right. Let me ask you what you did. I was going to ask you to sing. I don't know if you want to sing today, but what did you do during all of this? Not business wise. What did Dave Knight do personally to kind of stay creative and positive and on top of the world? What was your outlet?
Are you talking about the last 6 weeks?
Yes.
Okay, I probably mastered about 3 Frank Sinatra songs over that time period.
Nice. Frank Sinatra. I did not know that.
I love it, man. Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. You got it, baby.
I love it. All right, Frank Sinatra. That's a great song.
So yeah, that's my next foray. It's gonna be Boston Dave and the Heavy Metal Horns. That's my next act. And I'll be honest with you, Teddy. If I could, I'd be doing 2 shows in Las Vegas every day versus real estate. I really, really would.
You want to be on stage?
I love it.
I know you do. You're great at it too. So, all right, we have to look for that. All right, you guys, I put Dave's website down there as far as the real estate's concerned. Maxine says Frank Sinatra is one of my favorite. You have lots of love people are showing you, Dave. We'll both reach out to you guys. Thanks, Jeremy and Ryan and Yvonne and Paula. But reach out to Dave. Anything you want to learn about, I don't know, real estate, what his thought process is. If you have some homes, I think you're still taking new clients, I would imagine.
Always.
On the real estate world, reach out to Boston Dave. If he doesn't know the answer, he'll find it for you. Thanks for being on the show, buddy. That was awesome.
I appreciate you. Hopefully I'll see you at my next show.
I would love to be at your next show. All right, guys, Boston Dave Knight, rentsmartusa.com. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys later.